There's a moment that happens somewhere in the middle of doing all the right things. You're going to meetings, you're working the steps or a program, or whatever path you're on. You're showing up for life in ways you couldn't have managed a year ago. And by any reasonable measure, it's working. And then one ordinary afternoon, not in a crisis, not on a hard day, something surfaces. It's not a craving or a relapse thought. It's something quieter than that. Almost like a question you didn't decide to ask. Is this it? Maybe you push it away because it feels ungrateful, because you've worked hard to get here. It seems like exactly the kind of thinking that got you in trouble before. Never satisfied, always wanting more. But it comes back, low and patient, like a hum underneath everything else. I want to spend some time with that question today, because I don't think it's a warning sign. I think it's an invitation. I'm Stephen, and this is Spiritual Teamwork. We tend to mark our recovery by the moment we stop, the day we put something down, whatever it is. The morning we woke up for the first time in a long time without something to be ashamed of. And that moment is real, and we need to celebrate it. Getting into recovery removes the substance. What it doesn't remove is the inner landscape that preceded the substance, the anxiety that made the stillness unbearable, the shame that we never learned to put down, the hunger for something we couldn't quite name, that the drinking or using seemed for a while to almost satisfy. Most of us started using for a reason, and whatever that reason was, relief from pain, escape from a self we couldn't stand, a search for something that felt like it was transcendent, the substance was a counterfeit answer to a genuine question. Getting clean just removes the counterfeit. It doesn't answer the question. And so the question follows us into sobriety, and it gets louder. When it surfaces, we can assume we've done something wrong, that we're broken bad or in some new way, that everyone else in the room has found something that we haven't. Here's what I want to say to that. We haven't failed at recovery. We've just arrived at where recovery was trying to take us all along. And those people that you feel like have arrived are probably not even looking at the same life you're looking for. There's a thread that runs through many of the great contemplative traditions. It talks about waking up. And not metaphorically waking up, but literally waking up. The possibility that most of us move through our lives without ever fully inhabiting them. We go through the motions. We react rather than respond. We perform rather than live. We numb rather than feel. And we know this from the inside. We know what it's like to be asleep because we did it for years. And we know, even when we can't always name it, that getting clean isn't the same as waking up. It's more like opening your eyes in a dark room. Something has changed, but we don't know what it is. Waking up is a different kind of work than being in recovery. It's slower, it's less measurable, you can't count the days or get a chip for it. It's the work of turning towards yourself, towards the questions, the silence, the part of your inner life you've been avoiding. Not with punishment or analysis, but with an honest, soft attention, a willingness to see what's actually there. When you look closely at the 12 steps, really look at them. They aren't primarily about using, they're about excavating. They ask you to take an inventory of yourself, to admit what you find, to examine what drives you, to practice prayer and meditation, to carry what you learn into the world. That's not a maintenance program, it's a spiritual path. The Stoics called it turning attention inward, watching the movement of the mind with clarity and without flinching. The Buddhists called it insight practice, slow, patient work of seeing things as they actually are. Christian mystics describe a direct seeing beneath the surface of things, beneath the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are. Recovery was already pointing here. What changes in the deeper work isn't the direction, it's the depth. We stop managing the surface and start paying attention to what's underneath our false self. And this isn't an argument that the work of staying in recovery is somehow less than. Pacing the floor, making the phone calls at midnight, and counting the days, that's real work. It takes everything that we have because it's supposed to. But at some point, some of us feel the invitation to go further. To stop asking, how do I not use today? And start asking, who am I really? That invitation doesn't come with fanfare. It usually arrives exactly the way it arrived for most of us. As a quiet hum on an ordinary afternoon. A low-grade hunger for something we can't name. Pay attention to that hunger. Not to feed it with something else, another project, distraction, some way of staying busy, but sit with it. Let it ask the question out loud. And that's where the journey begins. Not on a retreat, not in a monastery, or when our lives are sorted out and our calendars are clear, but right here, in the middle of the ordinary life we're already living. We got into recovery so we could wake up. For some of us, waking up is just getting started. So here's the question I want to leave with you this week. Where in your own recovery have you started to feel that quiet hunger? The sense that just being in recovery isn't quite the whole story. What have you done about it? You don't have to answer that. Just sit with it. Think about it. I'm Stephen, and this is Spiritual Teamwork. I'll see you next time.